Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. Today is the NFL playoffs. NFL playoffs are here. Regular season is over, and so it is time for postseason football. College football has come to a close, and yeah, well, that's what that's. What Georgia did to TCU should have been close to what Michigan should have done to TCU, but we didn't show up. We didn't show up to play TCU. Thus, we got what we asked for. Then Georgia got to play TCU, and that's what happens when they play a real contender that actually tries. Anyway, I'm done talking about that because it really irks me every time I discuss it. So today we have the NFL playoffs, and so we have all the teams. Of course, we have 7 teams from each division, and so they will move on from their respective sides. Um, to get to the Super Bowl, which takes place this year in Glendale, Arizona, at State Farm Stadium. So that is the site of the Super Bowl. We'll start on the NFC side. So let's get starting with the playoffs, and we'll go from the top I have the 1 seed on the top and on both sides, and of course it just goes down from there. So we'll start with the 4-5 game on both sides, and end with the 2-7 game. So the 5-4 game on this side, the top wildcard team, the Dallas Cowboys at 12-5, will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road. This is a huge game. This is actually the Monday night game. So let's get in. As I didn't even mention before, let's get into this. Dallas, pretty solid team. Obviously, defense is pretty talented. They got guys like Micah Parsons. This is a good Dallas team with a good offense, and Tampa has been riddled with injuries and just not great play. This is a rematch of the Sunday night opener, actually, this year, as Dallas and Tampa was played in Dallas to start the season, and I believe it was Tampa who won that game pretty easily, if I actually remember. So this is actually a rematch of the Sunday night opener for the regular season. And I think Dallas is going to get revenge in this one. And I say that not because I want a Philly Dallas game, although that would be a lot of fun to see. I just think Dallas is better. Dallas is just the Cowboys are just a better team than Tampa, and I don't have a whole ton of faith in. Brady is obviously a great quarterback, and I don't even know if he's even close to finishing his career, but Dallas is just a really, really good team, and it's going to take a lot to beat the Cowboys. And I don't really know if Tampa has all the weapons for it. I mean, Brady, as good as he is, as good as Tom Brady can be, you can't do everything by yourself. And I mean, he's essentially trying to do almost everything all by himself. And I just think Dallas has got a bit more weapons. Prescott's got to clean up his lousy play as of lately. He can't be throwing picks in this game. Well, this is certainly going to be probably one of the better games this week. I think Tampa's going to make it very close and will also make it very tough. But I'm taking Dallas to move on and take on their direct rivals, the Philly Eagles, in the divisional round. And then we have the 2, 3, 6, 7 games here with the New York Giants on the road taking on the Minnesota Vikings. This is another big one. These two actually met not very long ago in Minnesota, and it was the Vikings who came up on top with a late field goal. What they've been doing literally all season long, winning games by single digits. And they just barely beat the Giants on a last second field goal, which got them the win. This Giants team, I have no idea how they got to the playoffs. I really have absolutely no idea. This team barely. This team had a tie against Washington, which are they bad too. They didn't end up making the playoffs. But this Giants team, defense, I don't really know what their defense is like. They have obviously Saquon Barkley. He's good. Daniel Jones is not. I don't know. I don't know how the Giants are 9-7-1. I really don't get it. It it makes no sense to me. They didn't beat the Eagles either time. They didn't beat the Cowboys either time. They're 0-4 against the Eagles and Cowboys. So I don't understand how on earth they got to 9-7-1. But here they are, number 6 seed. The Giants taking on the Vikings. I'm not a big fan of the Vikings either. I mean, they're 13-4, but if you look at the games that they have played, my goodness, the good teams that they've played, they got blown out by the Packers one time. They played the Cowboys and they got blown out by Dallas one time. And every single game that they've won has had to be by like single digits, including a game against the Giants. Now, in those single digit games, they are undefeated, but can you really keep living that way? Can you really keep winning games like that? Yeah, I don't think so. I'll still pick them to beat the Giants, though. They are home for this one. And so I will take the Vikings to just knock off the Giants. And that's gonna be a very fun game just because I don't think either team's all that special. But yeah, give me the Vikings. I think it's gonna be very close. Could come down to a last second field goal yet again, but I'll take Minnesota in a close one. And then you have the last one here, the 2-7 game, the Seattle Seahawks. I can't believe I'm saying that, but the Seattle Seahawks end up in the postseason somehow as the Lions, these very own Lions, yeah, they as they screw over the Green Bay Packers, take them out of the postseason, beat them in Lambeau Field. That was such an awesome sight, being a Lions fan and a Seattle fan. But yeah, Seattle, they get the privilege of heading to Santa Clara to take on the San Fran 49ers and was going to be a huge rivalry playoff game. Yeah, I hate to say this, but this is not going to be close. This is a San Fran team that has been on stinking fire. Their defense is unbelievable. And as much as their offense isn't great, Brock Purdy is not necessarily a great quarterback. Obviously, he's Mr. Irrelevant. But this San Fran defense is really what carries them, and they have a solid run game. Once they get Deebo Samuel back in full swing, you also got Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. As much as Brock Purdy isn't great, he's got weapons all around him. And so, and he's been fine so far. He has not lost yet. And so, Seattle's had a nice run. They got to the playoffs. They just barely escaped against the Rams, got bailed out like 30 times just so they could get to this spot. Do I think the Lions will do any better in this spot? No. But yeah, this is not going to be a great game. I really hope it is because I can't stand San Francisco and I'd love to see them lose for some reason. But I highly doubt that will be the case. I'll take San Fran. I'd love to be a homer and just take Seattle because I can't stand San Francisco. They drive me nuts. But yeah, those chances are pretty slim. So I'll go with the 49ers to knock off Seattle. So now we head over to the AFC side. We'll start with the 5-4 game over here as well, which this one is the Sunday night game, actually. I believe. No, this is a Saturday night game. I'm sorry. This is the Saturday night game. The Chargers and the Jaguars. This is a great game. I talked about how the Cowboys and the Cowboys and Buccaneers would be a good game and could be intriguing. I think this will be the best game of the wild card round, or the one below it, assuming one guy actually, assuming Jackson actually plays, yeah, the next game. But this is going to be a huge one. Jacksonville, first time in the playoffs since their one run to the AFC Championship game where they lost to the Patriots. This is their first time back in the postseason. As for the Chargers, it's been a while for them as well. They've had a couple seasons of where they've blown chances of getting to the postseason, but this time they finally make it at 10-7. They're the top wild card team, and they get to play Jacksonville. This is a big game for really both of these teams. They haven't seen a playoff game in quite a few years. Jacksonville gets to be at home for this game. Honestly, I could see this going either direction. I think the Chargers have a great offense. You got guys like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I don't know if he's healthy, and then you also have, of course, that quarterback Justin Herbert. They have and I think Gerald Everett's also a Charger. That's a good tight end. They have a solid offense, and their defense has got some playmakers. And as for Jacksonville, everyone thought, that they overpaid for literally their entire roster. I was one of those people. I mean, I saw them get like Zay Jones for 2 years and $26 million. I'm like, that's way too much money for him. And then they decided to go and give Christian Kirk 4 years and $72 million. I'm like, whoa, that's like a number three receiver at best, and you're giving him nearly like, oh, I don't know, how much is that? Close to like $20 million a year. I mean, yikes! You're giving him a lot of money, guys. But he's played well. And, they had a rough start to the season, and it really didn't look like it was going to be any good, but they've had a nice finish here, of which they got the win over the Tennessee Titans, albeit it was more because Tennessee was more inept. But they got the win nonetheless, and now here they are as the fourth seed, winning the AFC South, and will head to the divisional round, or I'm sorry, or in the wild card round. No, I'm not. I am not taking Jacksonville. Uh, just so you know. Whoops. And so I'm taking the Chargers in this game. I certainly could see Jacksonville, and I'm not going to I'm not going to take the Jags out of the conversation. I could certainly see them winning this game. Um, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think they're just a little bit better. Jacksonville, I mean, they've played decently well towards the end of the year, but I think the Chargers just have overall a better roster. And so I'll take the Chargers in a very close one. It's gonna be another great game. So expect a good one there in Jacksonville. In this one, we have the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this is not a typo. The record is 12-4. Yes, and Baltimore's is 10-7. If you don't know the reason for that, if you watch this game between the Bengals and down here, it's kind of blocked, but the Buffalo Bills down here, if you had watched that game on Monday night, barely halfway through the first quarter, Bills safety DeMar Hamlin suffered cardiac arrest on the field and was taken to a hospital. He is back in Buffalo, thankfully. He seems as though he is okay. So thank God for that. Thank God the young man is okay. Myself, but thank God he's okay, and thank God it seems like he'll make honestly a full recovery. But for both of these games, for the Bills and the Bengals, both of their teams with some QB question marks. Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about. We'll focus on this one. Of course, with their odd records, Bengals and Bills. Of course, with the odd records, there are some extenuating circumstances for, if they get to the championship game or whatever the case may be, then something could be different. Since the Bengals beat the Ravens last week, thankfully there doesn't have to be a coin flip for who gets home field. That would have been really weird, honestly. I would love to have seen that. How would they have done that is my question. they're gonna, because like they say, we're gonna have a coin flip. It's like, all right, so how are we gonna do this? You gotta put it on. We're just gonna have like a half hour or hour, like, showtime and hyping up a coin flip of who gets home field. Like, I would have been so curious to see what they gonna do with that. There's gonna be a whole video on it. Well, this is what they do to coin flip. I don't know. This would have been funny to see. But Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. It will be in Cincinnati. The Ravens, of course, their problem is whether or not Lamar Jackson will actually play in this game. There's a lot of question marks about that. He's been out for I think 5 or 6 straight weeks now. So Baltimore, this is a good team, and they have a solid defense. They have a solid offense, but of course, Lamar Jackson is the heart and soul of that offense, and they really need to. And the Ravens really need to hope that he actually will be playing, and will be playing in this game. As of right now, it's questionable as to whether or not he will be back for this game. But it seems to not be going in the greatest direction, so it could be Tyler Huntley again. And I mean, Baltimore made it. It was not really a great competition for the Bengals in the first time last week. This is going to be the second week in a row they're playing the Bengals. But if Jackson's not playing, I think the Bengals blow them out. But if the Ravens do have Lamar Jackson, it could be a big difference, and we'll see. I think that could be a really close game, but do give me Cincinnati to win this one. And then in this one, we have the Miami Dolphins on the road, just sneaking into the playoffs after the Patriots would lose to the Bills, and they would just sneak past the Jets with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Yes, not Tua Tagovailoa, as he is still in concussion protocol, and Teddy Bridgewater is hurt. So yeah, not good for them either. The Dolphins have their own injury problems. Um, and of course, they also have Raheem Mostert hurt as well. So really, a lot of question marks at quarterback for the Bill, or not the Bills, for the Miami Dolphins on whether or not they will both be playing or not, or who is. And obviously, that's going to be huge for Miami if they actually have a legitimate quarterback playing the game or a legitimate running back playing the game. But with all the different question marks surrounding who's going to be in and who's going to be out for Miami, I don't like it. And I don't know who's going to play for them. So I'm taking the Bills. They've been a little shaky as well. Buffalo's had a couple not great games, but the Bills have an enormous amount of talent, and I think this will be the Bills' game to lose. I can't see uh, the Bengals losing it, so I will take. Or I'm sorry, I can't see the Bills losing it, so I'll take Buffalo to win that one. And so now we head to the wild card round, or not wild card round, divisional round, and we'll start on the NFC side again. So first we start with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is gonna be a really good game. I'm really expecting a lot of fireworks in this game. I think this is gonna come all the way down to probably the last drive, last snap, possibly even. This is a huge game. Philly, of course, holding on to the number one seed, so they'll have home field throughout these playoffs. But this is a huge one. I think Dallas is gonna bring it to the end, and this is anybody's game. I would not be surprised to see Dallas win it. I would not be surprised to see Philly win it. But I am taking the Eagles to just sneak away with this one. Gonna be a very fun game. Philly does need to get healthy, but with a whole week to get healthy, I think that is huge for the Philadelphia Eagles to get guys fully healthy and everyone ready for that game. That is huge news. That'll be big time for the Eagles to get everybody fully healthy. And then this game, Minnesota against San Fran. Uh, yeah, you heard what I said earlier about the Vikings, that they kept winning close games and whether or not they could actually survive doing that. Yeah, I don't think so. Not in San Fran. I think the Vikings offense has a tough time getting going against San Francisco. Niners pretty much manhandle the Vikings and go to the championship game to take on the Philly Eagles. Now we go back to the AFC side, where we have one AFC divisional game with the Chargers and the Chiefs in a huge rivalry game, in AFC divisional game. It's gonna be loud at Arrowhead for sure. I guarantee you, they will be pumped for this one, and there's gonna be. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be pretty loud over there in Arrowhead, and this is gonna be a big game. I think a lot of people are gonna be very excited to see this one. And as much as the Chargers did go 10-7, are the 5 seed, weren't anywhere near the record of the Kansas City Chiefs. Expect this to be very close. I think you're going to see a shootout in this game. I know the Chargers have a solid defense. Chargers and Chiefs, I think, are very similar teams. Both of them, Chargers might have a little bit of a better defense, and their offense might not be as loaded as Kansas City. But I think the Chargers might. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling all over the place here. The Charger defense, I don't think. Well, the Charger offense, I don't think is as good as the Chiefs offense, but I think the Charger defense is better than the Chiefs defense. And so I think this is going to come down to the last possession, and it should be a very fun game. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs to win this one very close and get to the AFC title game. And we'll take on the winner of the Bengals and the Bills, which should also be a very entertaining game. Both of these teams are more predicated on offense. The Bills' defense, I think, is better than the Bengals. But I think this is going to also come right down to the wire. The AFC playoffs are going to be wild. I think the Bills and the Bengals is going to be a great game. Of course, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in this game, as because of the last time what happened between with Damar Hamlin. I think there'll be a lot of tributes probably to him, and by then I'm sure he'll be just fine. And maybe he'll be at the game. Probably, obviously not playing, but maybe he'll be present for the game or something like that. I'm sure they'll have something along those lines, especially since this is the team they played against where he did suffer cardiac arrest. But this should be a very fun game. These two never got to finish the first time that they played. Now they'll get to finish this time, and I think the Bills come out on top just barely. It's going to be very close. It's going to be a very fun divisional game. I think the Bengals will take them down to the wire, but I think the Bills will just sneak it out and will make for a very interesting AFC Championship game because the NFL has already said that if Buffalo and Kansas City uh, face each other in the AFC Championship, that it's going to be a neutral site game, which is really weird. So that'll be fun to see. But we'll go to the NFC side first, where we have the 49ers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I could see anybody winning this game. I think Philadelphia is playing a fantastic year, and they've been playing fantastic football. San Francisco, their defense is really stinking good. But this is in Philly. And I know San Fran has won games on the road, but Brock Purdy, I don't really know how good Brock Purdy really is. I mean, he might be able to get away with it again, not having to do much against Seattle or Minnesota, but against Philadelphia, their offense pretty darn good. Jalen Hurts has been playing like an MVP candidate. Miles Sanders is having a really good season running the football. Eagle defense might not be, top of the line unit, but it's a solid defense. They're not a pushover. And so, Philly had a rough end of the year because they lost Jalen Hurts to injury, but now he's back. And, this is going to be, I think, a really fun game. And we'll come down to the wire. Of course, I don't want to see San Fran in this position because I can't stand them. But I am. This is a hard game to pick, but I hate it. But I'm going with San Fran. I think the Eagles will make it close, but this San Fran team, I think the defense gets it done. It has nothing to do with really the San Fran offense. I don't think their offense is, gonna be gonna be putting up 50 points against any, but will be putting up even 30 points against anyone with Brock Purdy at QB. I mean, he's okay, but he's not great. But I don't know. The Eagles, I mean, they're a good offense, but that San Fran defense is tough. And so I'll take the Niners to go to the Super Bowl. And then we go to the other side. We have Bills and Chiefs, which will be a neutral site, which is going to be very strange considering a neutral site game in an AFC Championship game. It just, that sounds beyond weird. But that'll be the case for this game. Where it'll be played, they'll probably announce like during the game itself. So, or like right before the game itself. So that'll be very interesting. Hey, maybe it plays in Detroit and we get to watch the AFC Championship game of Bills Chiefs. I really hope that happens, and then I buy every ticket to watch that game. But it should be interesting. I don't know where it would be played, but they would announce it probably before the game, right before like the week of. Obviously, because they don't know if situation will actually occur. But this should be very fun. We saw the first iteration of this game in Arrowhead with the Bills coming out with the close win. Of course, since they never finished that Cincinnati game, we don't really know who the one seed would have been. So that's why the neutral site game. In this scenario, I want to pick the Bills, but they've had a lot of they've had a lot of turnovers at the wrong time. And this Kansas City team, their defense is no longer a pushover. They have a decent defense. They're not going to be, you can't just you can't outscore, you can't just put up 40 on the Kansas City defense anymore. That's not the case. They have solid defenders. Now, yes, they did lose the Bills the first time, but we've seen a lot of times from the Bills, honestly, where they honestly they turn it over a lot in the red zone, and they turn it over a lot. Just period. Now they got 2 kickoff returns against the Patriots, but I don't really know if the Chief special teams are going to play like that. I think this is going to be very fun. We've seen a lot of really entertaining games between these two, and it's starting to turn into more of a rivalry because they have played so much now. But I think this is going to be a really fun game. But give me the Kansas City Chiefs to come out with a very close win, to head to the Super Bowl for a rematch that nobody wants to see, the San Fran 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And my Super Bowl champions this year will be the Kansas City Chiefs. I am taking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, knock off the San Fran 49ers. This is where I think finally the San Fran magical run of Mr. Irrelevant eventually dies. The San Fran defense will do the best they can to keep them in the game, but at the end of the day, the San Fran offense not able to move the ball. Kansas City will win it and be your Super Bowl champions. I really hope this is not what happens. I really hope that maybe the Eagles go to the Super Bowl over San Francisco. I don't really care who comes out of the AFC. I just don't want San Francisco. But that's it for me. And unfortunately, these guys couldn't make it. I'm happy that obviously Seattle made it, but I would have loved it for both teams to make it. That's what I wanted, but stupid Washington, or stupid Giants, they had to go in. Why? Not good. Not going to beat the Vikings. We could have beaten the Vikings. We could have done it. or even Seattle. I don't know. Even the Seahawks probably could have beaten them. But of course, we didn't make it. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, adios, everyone.